mid-morning session, which is Gita series, which is going on for this month. And so thank you so much for joining this call. Vancha kalpadripasha kripa sindhu pevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So before moving on to the call, I would like to know who are all present here on the call today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Priti Vilasini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving us your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Bhagavatam, so glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas, and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirti Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving us your association. And once again, I will just tell your full name, Mataji. I always give your first name only. Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anyone else who would like to introduce?
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devi Dasi from College Station, Texas.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. My name is Pradipta Kumar Sahu. I am from ISKCON ACS Layout, Bangalore. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pradipta Kumar Sahu Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call all the way from Bangalore. Welcome to the call, Prabhuji, and thank you for giving us your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I am Varsha. I am from Bangalore, Mataji, HBR Layout, Bangalore. Respectful obeisance to all over the
Hare Krishna, Varsha Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. You are also from Bangalore, Mataji.
Yes,
Welcome to the
Mataji.
call.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you so much for giving us your association. Hare Krishna. Yes, Harita Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj and all the devotees on the call. This is Harita from Missouri City, Texas, Mataji, and all glories to your services, Mataji, and your enthusiasm. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Harita Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call, and thank you so much for giving us your association. And thank you so much for all your services on Bhakti Sangha, and all our enthusiasm is only from all the Bhakti Sangha Matajis. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving all your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji. This is Kaumudaki Dasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kaumudaki Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. In fact, I was waiting for you to join. Thank you. Gladly you joined at last. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving us your association, and your encouragement is more for us. Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, I welcome once again all of you to this Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. So now we will be moving on to that is Srimad Bhaagavad Gita for the advent of Gita Jayanti. So this is the Bhagavad Gita series, which is today we will be having on chapter 16, which will be given by Her Grace Indulekha Karuna Mataji. Before moving on to the call, I would like to read Prabhupada's quote for today. It is 26 December in 1972 at Bombay. Prabhupada has written, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is called Chanchala. She does not remain at one place. Today, one man is very rich. Next generation is no longer rich. If you are actually religious, then don't spoil your money for sense gratification. Use it for service of Krishna. If you have got some money, try to construct a very nice temple for Krishna's situation. That is proper use. Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada's quote, everything is so nice. Thank you so much, dear devotees, once again. So I would like to hand over call to Preeti Vilasini Mataji to give introduction about her grace, Indulekha Karuna Mataji. Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, please take over.
My great honor and immense fortune to be introducing a very, very special person today, Her Grace Indulekha Karuna Mataji. She is very, very famous because she's always behind the scenes. Here is our Indulekha Karuna Mataji, a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. She was introduced to Krishna consciousness by her mother back in 2000. And she got introduced to Krishna consciousness because of some devotee association that her mother got. And then after some break, she actively started pursuing Krishna consciousness from 2015. And by Krishna's divine intervention, she entered Bhakti Sangha in 2018. She got her first and second initiation around 2020 and 2021. Mataji conducts a Bhakti Vriksha program in Lincoln, Nebraska. I think the team graduated in Bhagavad Gita already. And she cultivates a group of devotees and a group of devotee children also in her local congregation. Besides that, in Bhakti Sangha, Mataji has an array of services. She serves as a teacher for Damodar kids. Sometimes she serves as a guest speaker for Govinda kids. And not only that, she also serves as a speaker for both early morning and mid-morning classes. She maintains the Bhakti Sangha website, Bhakti Sangha accounts, helps with maintaining the Zoom and the live channel. And as you all know, this is a very important service that is required on a day-to-day basis. She's the host for the early morning call, which means that she takes care of that is on the weekdays. She takes care of the Bhagavatam class live notification, share screening of verses for all the speakers. And she makes beautiful artistic posters for the mid-morning sessions. She helps with the overall technical support for Bhakti Sangha. And if at all we are on Zoom and we are having these classes and we have all this facility, it's actually thanks to her. Because of her continuous technical support, we were able to achieve a lot of things. She's fondly known as the tech lady of Bhakti Sangha. And she also serves, as I mentioned, speaker for several series like the Bhagavad Gita outreach program, the Srimad Bhagavatam summary classes, sometimes the early morning speaker. And Mataji is always open to take up more services as well. She has a very sweet and enchanting voice, and she has a knack for giving nice classes. So we are very excited to hear from her the overview of chapter 16. Mataji, please take over. I'm sorry for such a rough introduction. It could have been much better, but please take over, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Preeti Vilasini Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Indulekha Mataji, please accept the obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time and association in the midst of all your services. And I should say that you are the tech, as Mataji said, I think we should welcome you as tech lady of Bhakti Sangha, Her Grace Indulekha Karuna Mataji. We are waiting for you to hear from you on Bhagavad Gita series of chapter 16 summary. Over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We don't glorify Grace Preeti Vilasini Mataji enough, so that's why we don't realize that all of these are actually Mataji's glories only. She has just what is it? Shared that with us. So I'm very grateful to Mataji and very grateful to Bhakti Sangha for giving me this opportunity. I'd like to. I really hope Preeti Mataji is doing well because she said so many things that I don't even possess, no qualifications here at all. And I pray that by all your blessings, I would be able to speak something that is beneficial for all of us, and that's going to help in purifying me also in this process. Hare Krishna. We'll get started with the prayers. Share my screen. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Na Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Datati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Sri Gurum Dinatharinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and today we are moving on to the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday we saw the most important, very beautifully explained chapter 15, Purushottam Yoga, and today we are going to see a continuation of that chapter. And here this chapter is called the Divine and Demoniac Natures. So a lot of today's class will be focused on the demoniac nature, and this chapter has 24 verses, and of these 24 verses, the first 3 verses are dedicated to the divine qualities, and the remaining all are or the remaining 21 verses talk about the demoniac qualities, activities, what is the result of such activities, what are their consequences, how we can come out of this demoniac nature. So let's dive into this chapter. So in the 15th chapter, we remember that there was a banyan tree that this material world was being compared to. It's an upside down banyan tree. So in that, the different components of the banyan tree, the leaves, the roots, the branches, all of that was explained. But now there are some extra roots that were coming out of it, and that was compared to the activities of the living entities. So there are different kinds of activities, basically 2 kinds of activities that all living entities perform. One of those are auspicious activities and the other is inauspicious activities. So auspicious activities are, as we all know, they are definitely only caused when somebody is in the mode of goodness, and they are very auspicious for our progress in this path of bhakti or in this path of liberation also. And such activities are known as devi prakriti or divine qualities, and they are transcendental by nature. So that is one of those fruits of the banyan tree. And then there is the inauspicious activities that of living entities, and that is caused by people acting in the modes of passion and ignorance. So there is no chance of us getting liberation by our by inauspicious actions. And so either the people in such modes, they continue to remain and take on other human forms, or they go down and degrade to lower and lower species of life. Okay, so in the 16th chapter, we are talking about the fruits of this banyan tree, and which is the divine and demoniac qualities, and how it's that what are the qualities associated with the transcendental nature, and what are the qualities associated with demoniac nature. Okay, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of these. So very brief division of the chapter. The first 3 verses are the divine qualities or the devi sampada. The 4 to 8 talk about the demoniac qualities or the asura sampada, and text 10 through 20 talk of the activities of demoniac people. What are their tendencies? How do they conduct themselves? What is their attitude like? What kind of activities are they involved in? What is their thought process? And ultimately, what is the destination that someone in the demoniac form of life can get into? So in the last section, verses 21 through 24 talk about the 3 gates to hell. Okay, so we see that could be a destination that the demoniac person can attain. And what can we do to give up all these demoniac tendencies, and how following scripture is the final resort for anyone to actually attain transcendental qualities. So this chapter 16, once again, we're talking about the fruits of the banyan tree, and they are of 2 varieties. There are good fruits and there are bad fruits. So the divine qualities are the good fruits and the bad fruits are the demoniac qualities. And this is the focus in the first section. So here Krishna is going to talk about what the qualities of saintly persons are, what are the weaknesses of a demoniac person, and how we can slowly and very systematically we can get rid of these demoniac tendencies. And if we don't, what happens is it destroys us. It destroys our own spirituality. So we'll look at the first 3 verses. So the first 3 verses of this chapter, we'll recite the verse. We will recite the translation also by Srila Prabhupada, and we will look at these qualities. So the first 3 verses talk about the 26 divine qualities that can be possessed. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti Danam Damascha Yajnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodastyaga Shantir Apaishunam Daya Bhuteshvaloluptvam Mardhavam Hrir Achapalam Teja Kshamadritir Shaucham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Devi Abhijatasya Bharata. So today I would like to go verse by verse. I saw that was quite effective yesterday. And so I thought we'll just look through each verse. There are only 24 verses in this chapter, so we'll try to complete all of them. The translation for this is: the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine qualities. So, this first purport that Srila Prabhupada has written is extremely elaborate, and it is a very, very beautiful purport. If you get a chance, please definitely try to read them. We won't be able to look through all of it in today's session. These are the 26 qualities, and I have taken this table so as to describe what Srila Prabhupada has, given in the purport. So, all of these qualities in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, we can divide them amongst the different varnas and ashramas. It is anyone in the transcendental nature who has a transcendental nature should possess most of these qualities. Okay, it doesn't mean that these qualities are specific to a particular varna or ashrama. It is meant for everyone, but some qualities need to absolutely be possessed by certain classes of society. So first quality that we see is fearlessness or abhayam. So this is an absolute, this is one of the first qualifications that sannyasi absolutely needs to have. So without this quality, they should not accept sannyas, the sannyas order of life. So why is that? Because abhayam or fearlessness happens when one is completely dependent on the Lord's mercy. So for a sannyasi, there are so many, this sannyasi is normally alone, and many times he does not have any guarantee, there's no guarantee that somebody is going to support them, and they go from door to door. So they are exposed to the element in many ways. And so they have to constantly depend on the Supreme Lord for their, for their complete protection, and they need to be absolutely fearless for that, because this fearlessness comes from dependence at, oh, Krishna is living, Krishna resides within me, Krishna is in me as the Paramatma, and he is going to be there, come what may. He is always going to be there to protect me. He is there for me. So that complete surrender and that complete dependence is there on the Supreme Lord. So the next quality that again a sannyasi mainly should possess is the purification of one's existence. So this is sattva samshuddhir. So how can we purify our existence? By following the rules and regulations. So one of the main regulation is that we need to be very careful in our association with, sannyasis have to be very careful in their association with women. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was extremely strict on this front. He made sure that he himself did not come in contact with any of the lady devotees, and he would always make sure that he would say that, okay, please, you stand far and you can offer obeisances, or you can offer your prayers to me from a distance. And we also know of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had punished one of his associates, Chota Haridas, for just looking at a woman and having some desire come within his mind. He did not act upon anything, but still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu strictly, he punished Chota Haridas, and he did not allow him to come back. So so a sannyasi has to make sure that he follows all the rules and regulations. We all have to follow rules and regulations, and we all have to have a lot of discipline, like how we saw in today's class by His Grace Amarendra Prabhu in the morning. So the next quality that one has to imbibe is cultivation of knowledge. Once again, all of us need to cultivate knowledge. So this is known as Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti in the verse. And especially a sannyasi has to constantly make sure that he is cultivating, and he is imparting this transcendental knowledge to everyone, especially the grihasthas or the householders. So sannyasi, out of his great humility, he goes from one door to the other, actually begging. But in that process, what is he trying to do? He is trying to impart this transcendental knowledge to each and every householder, and he is trying to awaken the Krishna consciousness in all of them. The fourth quality, which is charity, has to especially be performed by grihasthas. So, of the four orders, which are the the brahmacharis, the grihasthas, the vanaprasthas, and the sannyasis, only the grihasthas, they are the only ones who are able to support the entire society. Brahmacharis don't have a source of income. Sannyasis don't have a source of income. Vanaprasthas are people who are retired from their grihastha life. And so it is the grihasthas who have to make sure that they perform charitable acts so that the whole society is maintained. So here it says that we have to spend 50% of the income to propagate Krishna consciousness, as we have seen from the life of Srila Rupa Goswami, how he divided his wealth. And charity has to be given only in the mode of goodness. And so it has to be given at the right time, at the right place, to the right person. Any charity that is given in the mode of passion or ignorance, it is just a waste of our money and time. It is not going to reap any benefit. So the next quality, fifth quality, is self-control or dhamma. So all varnas and all ashramas, especially grihasthas, have to make sure that they maintain self-control. So when we are, because for grihasthas, they need to be careful that they use their sex life only for propagating Krishna conscious children. The next is sacrifice or yajna, and once again, sacrifice requires a lot of material resources. So it is the grihasthas who have to perform sacrifice. And in this day and age, the Sankirtan Yajna is the best means. It is the most inexpensive, and there is no qualification. So every single person can perform Sankirtan Yajna. And what is it? It gives us the highest benefit. The next one is Swadhyaya, which is Vedic study, and this is especially for the brahmacharis or the students. So brahmachari has to be a celibate, and he has to be engaged in the study of the Vedic literature. So he has to constantly engage his mind in the study of Vedic literature. Tapasya or austerity has to be performed by all the varnas and all the classes. So but especially austerity has to be performed by the vanaprasthas, because the vanaprasthas, one who is leading a household life, they have to make sure that they retire from that household life by the age of 50, and only after that do they move on to the vanaprastha form of life. And once they are there, then they have to perform austerity, all kinds of austerities. And as we can see, even now, we also are, Srila Prabhupada has given us a set of rules and regulations and austerities that we also need to perform even while we are in grihastha life. But as we move further and further along, definitely the amount of austerities need to go on increasing. So they can be of three types: austerities of body, mind, and tongue. So we will see a lot of this elaborated in tomorrow's class, because tomorrow's class is on the 17th chapter, which talks about all these things in great detail. What kind of charity, what kind of austerities we have to perform, everything is elaborated there. So this human life is meant for liberation, and for liberation, austerities is a must. So Srila Prabhupada, he has mentioned in the purport that there are a lot of show bottle spiritualists who say that there is no need of performing any austerities and we can go on speculating. But this kind of philosophy, it is only it can attract, they say these things so that they can attract so many followers, because a philosophy where there are a lot of rules and regulations and it is following the scriptures strictly, because all of these rules and regulations are coming from the scriptures, right? So those kind of things, they don't attract too many people because it is a little more difficult to perform. So that is Srila Prabhupada's take on austerity. And we move on to simplicity. So every one of us need to learn to be, this is for every ashram, every varna, everyone has to learn to be simple and straightforward. The 10th quality is non-violence or ahimsa. Non-violence means, it's a very beautiful definition. When we say non-violence, it means that we are not checking the progressive life of any living entity. So by what happens when we commit an act of violence towards another living being? It could be an animal, it could be another human being, it could be a very, a much lower form of life. But still, when violence is performed, it checks the lifespan of that particular the soul in that body. And so the soul was actually meant to live a certain period of time, a few either a few days or a few months or a few years in a particular form of life. And when we mercilessly kill that particular form of life, we are checking the progress of that soul. So from that body, that particular body, after it spends a certain number of days, then the soul can transmigrate to another higher form of life. That is how it is. But what happens here is when we kill an animal or kill another life form, then we are impeding their progress, and they would have to come back into the same body and into the same kind of species, so that they can continue the rest of their time that they had to spend in that body. So that's the importance of being non-violent. Truthfulness or satyam, very important. It's for everybody, and especially we need to make sure that we do not misinterpret or distort the truth for some personal interest, especially any Vedic instructions, like how we see that there is Bhagavad Gita translations and commentary by so many different authors. But each one of them has misinterpreted or interpreted the Bhagavad Gita to suit their own purposes. So that is not right. We need to make sure that we explain the Vedic instructions in the in truth and in the right light. So that's why we have the Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada. Freedom from anger or akrodha, this is also for all classes of society. And what it means is that whenever we may be in a provocative situation, but even then we need to learn to tolerate. So when we get angry, immediately it pollutes the whole body. And this anger is actually a product of lust. We will see that in a little bit again. It's a product of both passion and lust, because when we want something or desire something and the desire is unfulfilled, then we become angry. Renunciation is also for everyone, all classes. And renunciation means we don't just renounce things. We need to make sure that we utilize everything for, once again, Krishna's pleasure in service of the Supreme Lord. And the next quality is tranquility. Tranquility means someone who is very peaceful and equipoised. Aversion to fault finding or apeshanam is where, it is not a good thing to always criticize people or find or correct someone all the time. But when there is a thief, Srila Prabhupada says, to call a thief is all right. That is appropriate. We should do that. And we should have compassion for all living entities. And so for this, we distribute scriptural knowledge, we distribute prasadam, we distribute the holy names of the Lord to all living entities. Freedom from covetousness. So we should not be greedy. We need to perform more charity. Gentleness, we have to be friendly to all living entities. Modesty or means we do not perform any abominable actions, and we are very modest. And steady or determination is also a chapalam, which means that one is not agitated or frustrated in his efforts. So there may be many failures, especially in this path. There can be so many failures, but we have to progress with patience. We have to progress with determination. It is only then that we can attain our ultimate goal. The next quality is vigor or tejas. Tejas is especially for the Kshatriya class. Okay, so because the Kshatriyas are the ones who have to exhibit valor and strength, and they have to give protection to those in need of protection, and sometimes they need to, make sure they need to know and have proper discrimination to know when to use violence and when not to. So for that, they also need to possess the quality of shama or forgiveness, where they need to learn to forgive minor offenses of others. So when one is able to curb one's enemies, there are some instances where we need to, be more forgiving and forgive them, and spare their lives, and sometimes not. So it depends on the situation. The next is fortitude or dhriti. And this is mental and emotional strength when facing difficult situations. This is also for all classes of society, but especially for the Kshatriyas, because the Kshatriyas are the ones who would have to fight in many situations. Next is 24th quality is cleanliness or shaucham. Now, shaucham is also for all classes because there are two kinds of cleanliness, internal cleanliness as well as external. So we need to make sure that our body is completely clean, but also our mind, our heart, everything is clean. So they say, Srila Prabhupada has explained that cleanliness is especially important for the Vaishya community. Why? Because they are the ones who are the mercantile class, and so they need to deal with a lot of transactions. So they have to be careful not to do any illegal or black market type of transaction. So the 25th quality is freedom from envy, and this is something that we all need to learn to possess, and it is one of the main transcendental qualities that puts one on the divine platform. So one should not be resentful of anyone. We need to, and we will look at envy in a little more detail later on in the next few verses. So the 26th quality is freedom from passion for honor. Nati manita. So this is for all classes, but especially for the Shudras, because the Shudras have to, be we need to make sure that we respect everybody. So we should not be so puffed up. They should not display unnecessary prestige and honor, but they need to serve everyone. The Shudras are the ones who serve all the other classes of society, so they need to have this particular quality in in depth. So after talking about these three, after describing all the 26 divine qualities, Krishna then moves on to what the demoniac qualities are. So the next set of verses from 4 through 8, 9, we talk about what the demoniac qualities are. So verse 4 is Dambho Darpo Abhimanascha Krodha Parushyameva cha Ajnanam cha Bijatasya Partha Sampadam Asurim. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. Krishna is saying these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pritha. What is pride? Pride is when you want to make a show of religion, even if it is very sinful. Arrogance is when you have so much wealth and so much education or a good degree and a good position in society, then you have so much pride in what you possess there. What is abhimanas? That is conceit, the desire to be worshipped by others. Krodha is anger over very, very, very trivial matters, over trifles. And then parushyam, we start speaking very harshly to others. So when you get angry, then you demonstrate a very harsh tone. And ajnanam, which is ignorance or the lack of discrimination. So when you start by performing actions whimsically, then one is lacking discrimination, and that they are doing just because they are in ignorance. We don't understand what is prescribed in the scriptures. Oh, Srila Prabhupada, very, very interestingly, he has written that these demoniac qualities don't just sprout out one day, one fine day. No, they are present from the very beginning, from the very moment that this particular soul takes on a body in the womb of the mother. So as the soul, it grows in this body, as the body progresses, grows and grows, they start manifesting all of these inauspicious demoniac qualities in greater proportion. After explaining these 6 demoniac qualities and 26 divine qualities, Krishna looks at Arjuna and he feels like, oh, Arjuna seems to be a little worried if he's possessing demoniac qualities. So Krishna says, Devi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata mashucha sampadam devim abhijata si pandava. So Krishna says that the transcendental qualities, they are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. So Devi Sampada Vimokshaya, they cause liberation. Nibandhaya Surimata. So the demoniac qualities make for bondage. So he says, Ma Shucha Sampadam Devam. Ma Shucha, don't worry, O son of Partha or of Pandu, because you are born with divine qualities. Sampadam Devam Abhijatosi Pandava. So you have divine qualities and you're born with divine qualities. Because Arjuna, before fighting in the Kurukshetra war, he is wondering about the consequences of this battle. He's considering what is going to happen if he fights in this battle. He knows that people whom he respects so much, like Bhishma and Drona, he should not be killed, and he has that conflict in his mind. So because of that, he's not just simply acting whimsically in ignorance or under the influence of anger or prestige or this false pride or harshness, nothing. So none of those qualities are actually displayed in Arjuna. So he is not of demoniac nature. And as a Kshatriya, it is transcendental for him to fight. So he has to demonstrate his, vigor, like what we saw earlier. And so then Krishna decides, okay, maybe I need to elaborate a little further. And for this, from here on to the end of this chapter, Krishna is going to explain in detail about the demoniac tendencies. So dvaubhuta sargo lokesmin daivasura evacha devo vistarasha prokta asuram partame shrunu. O son of Pritha, in this world there are 2 kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. So I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. So now he is going to go further. So there is, and the purport, Srila Prabhupada once again, very beautifully he writes that those who are born with divine qualities, they are following a regulated life. So what does that mean? It means that they are following the scriptural injunctions. They are binding themselves to a higher authority and they are abiding by the instructions of those higher authorities. But what is the difference when it comes to a demoniac person? A demoniac person is someone who does not want to follow any of the regulative principles. They don't want to follow what is mentioned in the Shastras. They don't want to subject themselves to a higher authority. They just want to live according to their own whims and fancies. So there is no other criteria but obedience to the regulative principles of scripture. That is the only difference between the divine and demoniac. One obeys scriptures, the others do not care. So both of them actually come from the Prajapatis only. Both the demigods and the demons are born from the Prajapatis, and only difference is one follow the Vedic injunctions, the others does not. So we'll see what the demoniac nature is like. Pravritim cha nivritim cha. So they demoniac don't know what is to be done and what is not to be done. How to act, how not to act. Jana na vidur asura. So na shaucham na pi charo na satyam teshu vidyate. Okay, so they have no shaucham, they have no cleanliness, and they have no proper behavior, no achar. So no satyam, na satyam, they don't have any truthfulness. Teshu vidyate. Okay, so none of these good qualities are found in them. And those who are so they have, why does all this happen? Because they don't know how to act, they don't know what to do, what not to do. They are never clean, they have no good behavior, and they have no truthfulness. Why? This is because they do not accept, and they don't have faith in a higher authority. So they don't want to act according to the Vedic instructions. The scriptures tell us exactly what to do, how to behave, what is cleanliness, what is not, what is truthfulness and what is not. But here they don't want to follow any of those rules. And so we need to be very careful in maintaining ourselves and maintaining our nature. And so the demons, they are not clean. They are not clean externally or internally. And how can we be clean externally? We can be clean externally by bathing, by brushing our teeth, shaving, changing clothes. All of these help in maintaining our external cleanliness. And we can maintain internal cleanliness by reading scriptures, chanting the holy names of the Lord, and especially chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So reason why we do this every single day is to clean ourselves internally, to purify our consciousness. So, but what happens? The demons are not following any of these. There are many such rules and regulations that are given in the Shastra. So this is a perfect guide for us. But the demons, they don't want to follow this, and they want to concoct their own, which we will see later on. So what happens is the people who are in such societies lead a very, very miserable, pathetic life. So their social condition is also very bad. But what is the conclusion that the demons have about this world? Asatyam apratishtam te jagadahur anishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kim anyat kama hetukam. So this entire world is formed out of kama hetukam. It is formed out of lust. We'll read the translation. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. And it is a product of sex desire and has no other cause than lust. This talks about how they think. They believe that this world is asatyam, this world is false. It's apratishtam, there is no foundation for this world. And more importantly, they say it is anishwaram, there is no God in control. And it has just arisen without cause. So, aparaspara sambhuta. And it is a product of lust. So, kama hetukam. So they believe that, this entire world comes from just material interactions, and material matter leads to further, production of more matter. So this entire world comes from how interactions between men and women. And actually, this is not true, because although we say that a child may arise from father and mother, it is not just a combination of matter. there is a soul that is present, and the soul is the one who is kept moved, who is placed in a particular type of a womb and is placed in a particular kind of a body by the divine will of the Supreme Lord. But they don't even believe in the existence of the soul. The demoniac feel that everything is only matter, so there is no soul. So that's why they feel like, okay, this entire material world comes from just matter. So so they, because they feel that this is, so they can concoct, they see this, there is no cause for this material world, right? We are saying aparaspara sambhutam. So because of that, they come up with so many theories. So they can say that this world is, it has come out of illusion, and then that becomes the cause. So they concoct various theories for how this world has come into existence. Now, what is the kind of work that these people perform? Etam drishtim avastabhya nashtatmano alpabuddhaya prabhavantyugra karmana shayaya jagato hita. So they follow such conclusions. The demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, they engage in unbeneficial, horrible work meant to destroy the world. Here Krishna is explaining that all of these demoniac mentalities, it comes from a deranged intellect, because we are so materially oriented that they only want to believe and accept what they can see with their own minds and senses. So they are engaged in activities for their own sense enjoyment, right? And in this process of trying to enjoy this material world to the maximum limit, what do? They keep on trying to engage in inventing something or the other that is helpful for their sense gratification. By doing this, what happens? We think that, oh, we are advancing and we are making so much progress. But the result is that we see people grow more and more violent. They become more and more cruel to people around them, cruel to the animals, cruel to, fellow human beings. So once again, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that, see, this verse, it's anticipating the invention of nuclear weapons. The whole world is very proud of the nuclear weapon. And at any moment, war may take place. And these atomic weapons may cause havoc. Such things are created solely for destruction of the world. And that is what Krishna is indicating here. Because of godlessness, such weapons are invented in human society. There is no way by which these can be used for peace and prosperity of the world. So the next sequence of verses from 10 through 20 talk about the activities of demoniac people and what its consequences are. 10th verse is Kamam asritya dushpuram dambhamanam madanvita mohad grihitva sadgrahan pravartante ashuchi vrata. So taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, ashuchi vrata. They are attracted by the impermanent. This is very significant because Ashuchi Vrata means these demoniac people, they are attracted by, alcohol and women and gambling and meat eating, all the four absolutely things that we should abstain from. They are only behind those four things. And all of these form unclean habits. And they just would do anything for increasing their material enjoyment. And because of that, they are constantly in a lot of anxiety because we are after these non-permanent things. And so because these things can constantly fluctuate, we have one desire after another, and after another. So there are two main attractions. So what this results in is that we become more and more, by increasing these demoniac people, they are more and more attracted to two main things. One is sex enjoyment, and second is accumulating a lot of material wealth. So when we think of, so because of that, they engage in very unclean activities. Another kind of unclean work that we talk about would be like the human sacrifice that we see in the story of Jadabharata. So when Jadabharata was taken by the dacoits, they took Jadabharata so that they can sacrifice this human being for Mother Kali's pleasure. And by that, Mother Kali is going to give them, the special boons and blessings. But when they took this Jadabharata and they were going to, they were going to chop off his head, they were going to sacrifice him. Immediately, what happened? Mother Kali, she broke off from the deity of Mother Kali, split, and she came out of it, and Mother Kali started chopping off all these people's head, all the dacoits who were worshipping her in a very, very unclean way. By trying to kill another human being, they want to offer that living being to Mother Kali. So she was so mad at them. What did she do? Those people who were worshipping her itself, she finished them off, because it was not, what they were doing was something very unclean and unnecessary. So and it is not mentioned in the scriptures. So what is the kind of attitude that these people have? What kind of activities are they engaged in? That is mentioned in verse 11 to 12. Chintam parimeyam cha pralayantam upashrita kamopabhoga parama etavat iti nishchita ashapashashatair bandha kamakrodha parayana ihante kamabhogartam anyayenartha sanchayan. So the translation is, they believe that to gratify senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. So until the end of their life, their anxiety is immeasurable, and they are bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires, and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. First of all, we need to realize that the demoniac, they do not accept any scriptures. So they don't believe, they believe that this is one life and we have to continuously enjoy until our enjoy, have complete sense gratification in this one life. And that is our ultimate goal. So this is what they maintain until their death. So they don't believe that after death, we will have to take another life form, because they don't believe in the existence of the soul. So they don't know this. So they feel like, oh, okay, we have to fulfill all our, all our desires in this one life. And so they go on planning and planning for this, enjoying in this life before, by even until the time of their death. But we need to realize that the law of nature is not going to allow us to live a second beyond what is one is destined to enjoy. So these demoniac people, they have no faith in the supreme Lord. They don't believe in the existence of the super soul. So because of that, they feel like, oh, now I can perform anything. There is no one watching me. There is no one who is there to control me. There is no higher authority that I am liable to, do. So I am just going to do what I feel like doing. But actually, the super soul is sitting within each and every one of us, and he is observing what activities we are performing. Like how in the Upanishads we talk about two birds that are sitting in one tree. One is constantly engaged in all kinds of activities. They are enjoying or they are suffering all the fruits of the tree. But the other is just sitting there on the branch without doing anything. And he is just witnessing the activities of this particular bird. So the demoniac, they have no faith and they have no knowledge of the scriptures. So they don't care about this. And they don't realize that there is the super soul within all of us. So now they decide that, okay, this is what we need to do. And so there are two main urges. One is to gain a lot of wealth. So we look at how they are trying to attain that and what their mentality is. So this is explained in verses 13 through 15. Idam madhyam maya labdham imam prapsye manoratham idam asti idam api me bhavishyati punardhanam ashau maya hata shatru hanishye cha paranapi ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi adhyo abhijanavan asmi Konyosti sadrisho maya yakshye dashami modishya itya jnana vimohita. Okay. This translation is and it explains itself. So the demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and all my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, I'm powerful and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives, and there's none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I'll give some money in charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are completely deluded by ignorance. So, Lord Krishna is leading us to this, what the results of what all this is going to lead to. This is the hellish path that a demoniac person is going to traverse. So they think whatever they find is for their own enjoyment. There is no restriction, and they are going to continuously scheme to attain that. And so the only thing that they care about or respect is power and might. Their conception is that might is correct and might is right, and so they are going to destroy any obstacles that come in this path. And so they want to fulfill any ambitions or desires. They don't care, what is going to happen in the meantime. Are they going to hurt somebody in this process? They only care about their own satisfaction. And we see how, one of the great examples of this behavior was Ravana. He, first of all, he decided to capture Mother Sita. And for that, he had such a big plan in place, and he schemed with his uncle, and he finally brought her to Lanka. And after that, even after knowing that, oh, okay, Lanka is going to be destroyed if I don't return her back to Lord Rama, he did not. He ignored everything else. Although he was very knowledgeable and he knew the scriptures at one point, but the tendency to just enjoy kept him in it kept him bound. And so it kept him in that ignorant state where he felt, okay, no, at some point I am going to be able to gain the hand of Mother Sita. And that did not happen. And instead, he lost his children, he lost his brother, he lost his family members, so many, he lost his own life. He lost everything in this process. So they try to make sure that they are superior to everyone. They want everyone to acknowledge them as being the best. But actually, they are going into more and more illusion, deeper illusion in this process. So what kind of destination do such demoniac people get? And it is obviously hell. This is explained in verse 16. Aneka chitta vibhranta moha jala samavrita prasakta kama bhogeshu patanti narakeshu cha. Thus, perplexed by various anxieties and bound by mohajala, by a network of illusion, they become strongly attached to sense enjoyment and they fall down into hell. And here it is not just any hell, it is narake ashuchau, a very unclean hell. So they are going to go down into a very, very horrifying and a very disgusting place, even in hell. So, so these people, they think that, oh, okay, I have amassed a lot of wealth, and all of this that has come to me has come of it, all my endeavor. I have worked so hard and I have put in so much effort, and because of that, I have received the results. But that is not true. They don't realize that it is only because of the laws of karma. What kind of a family a person takes birth in is determined by their previous activities. So if they had performed good activities in the past, then based on that, they would get a very high birth, or a rich, be born in a rich family, or be very well educated, or they could be very beautiful. So the demoniac people think that these are just accidental, and these are, they feel that all of their whatever they have achieved till now is only because of one's own effort. They are effort, they are ability. And they don't believe in the Shastras. So what do? They manufacture their own processes of yajna. And what is this yajna for? So that they can attain higher and higher planets. And so they prepare machines, like how we see Ravana wanted to build a staircase that will take all the asuras, or all the rakshasas into heavenly planets, into Swargaloka. Without performing the sacrifices that are required for it. He just thought, okay, everybody can walk their way to the heavenly planets. And so by doing this, what happens, even without their knowledge, they keep gliding down further and further into hellish life. And that's why the word mohajala, they get so entangled in this network, just like a just like a fish is caught in a fishing net. So it's so difficult for them to come out of this trap that they have laid for themselves. And so they just continuously engage in only satisfying their own senses. And at the end of their life, they are forced to leave this body and enter into a lower hell, or a lower form of life. Hold on a sec. So that they end up suffering terribly. Now we have seen some examples, and we see how they what their nature is like in the 17th verse. Atma sambhavita stabdha dhanamana madanvita yajante nama yajnaiste dambena vidhi purvakam. So they are self-complacent and always impudent. Deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes perform sacrifices very proudly. They perform nama yajna namesake yajnas. That don't follow any rules or regulations. So one example was like how Vrikasura, or what is it, Bhasmasura, he started offering all flesh from his body for, in the sacrificial fire, in order to please Lord Shiva. So that's why it's called Avidhi Purvakam. So they have no regard for the rules and regulations. They think whatever path that they create is correct. There is no standards that we need to follow. There is no rules that they need to follow. And so in the eyes of the society, they try to make themselves look really good by performing these very extravagant rituals. But actually, all of these are, not going to please the Supreme Lord in any way, because they are performed in ignorance and illusion. So then what is the result of these demoniac activities? Ahankaram balam darpam kama krodam cha samsrita mam atma paradeheshu pradvishanto abhyasuyaka. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger. These demons, they become envious of even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others. And they blaspheme against real religion. So the ultimate result is that we end up being envious towards the Lord. These demoniac people, they don't even believe in the Supreme Lords, in the Lord's supremacy. They don't believe in the scriptures. And so when they see that the Supreme Lord is so extremely powerful, they become so envious of the Lord and even the existence of the scripture. And so they try to blaspheme this real religion. They disrespect the Supreme Lord who is situated in their own bodies. So by doing this, what did they try to do? We see how Hiranyakashipu, once he got into power, he wanted to destroy the entire fabric of righteousness, that or the social structure, everything that was present there, whatever was scripturally recommended. Hiranyakashipu made sure that all of that was completely changed, because he wanted to destroy the society structure, the family life, foundation of religion, everything he wanted to destroy, because he felt all of this was created by the Lord and he did not want to follow any of it. So they, crush the foundation of humanity without realizing that this life is actually just there so that we can prepare. This human form of life has been given to us so that we can prepare for our next life. Without knowing this, they become so envious of the Lord. And by becoming envious of the Lord, first, what happens? They are actually becoming envious of their own selves. But we hurt ourselves first before we can actually hurt anybody else, because that thought, it is first presented in our own minds, and when it comes into our own minds, it contaminates us before it causes any harm to anybody else. So Krishna says that this is what I'm going to offer these envious people. Tanaham dvishatah kruran samsareshu naradhaman shipamya asrijam ashubhan asurishvesha yonishu. So those who are envious and mischievous, who are lowest among men, I perpetually cast them into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. So Krishna is clearly explaining that I am the one who is going to do this. I am going to decide which birth who takes. So that is up to the supreme will of the Lord. A demoniac person will not agree that, okay, the Supreme Lord is one who is going to decide everything. But he can only act according to his likes and his whims until the end of his life. The next birth, he will have to anyway be under the, he will have to take a birth according to what he has performed. And based on the previous karma, the Supreme Lord is going to give him a particular kind of a body. So Krishna says that he is going to constantly revolve these asuras who are so envious, who are so mischievous in this perpetual cycle of birth and death. Or even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 3rd canto, Kapila Dev explains, he says, Karmana deva netrena jantur deho patyate striya pravishta udaram pumso reta kanashaya. He says that an individual soul after his death is put into the womb of a mother, where he can get a particular type of a body, completely under the supervision of the superior power, which is the Supreme Lord's will. So therefore, in this material existence, that's how we see so much variety. So many species of lives are present, of life are present. We have the animals, we have insects, we have humans, we have so many species, 8,400,000 species of life. And these are not accidental species of life. They are because of our activities. Based on our activities, the Lord will decide what kind of a body we need to take in our next life. So this 19th and 20th verse talk about what Krishna does to the demoniac people. Asurim yonim apanna mudha janmani janmani mam aprapyaiva kaunteya tato yanti adhamam gatim. So attaining repeated birth among the species of demoniac lives, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. And gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So the Lord
we know the Lord as being all merciful. But over here we see how the Lord is explaining that, oh, they are going to continuously take repeated births and deaths, and they are just going to sink down into lower and lower species of lives and types of existence, that they will never be able to come back. And so why are we saying that the Lord is so merciful to everyone? The Lord is not merciful to the demons, because see, he's putting them into such terrible forms of life. But actually, even this, in the Vedas, Vedanta Sutras, it is explained that the Supreme Lord does not have any hatred for anyone. He places even the demons in a lower species simply by his own mercy. These asuras we see are sometimes by putting them in, so a demoniac person can end up being in a demon body eventually. And these demons are killed by the Supreme Lord, as we have seen how Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, so many of them, Kamsa, all of them were killed by the Supreme Lord. And when they were killed by the Supreme Lord, the Lord has given them liberation. So that is the Lord's mercy upon them. So they may attain to the state, but instead, even, all these enemies of the Lord, just by constantly meditating on him, constantly thinking of him, like how we see Shishupal he was so envious towards the Lord. And so he was always thinking of the Lord as his enemy. So because of that, they are also able to attain the supreme truth that the sages are unable to attain. Now, the sages who are constantly in yoga, they worship the Lord by controlling their breath, mind, and senses. They also cannot attain this kind of a state. And so, I'm so sorry. I think I'm running. I'm a little late. It's already 11:12. So we'll see how we can give up all these demoniac tendencies and follow the scriptures in the last set of verses, 21 to 24. There are 3 gates to hell: lust, anger, and greed. So that is Trividam Naraka Sedam Dwaram Nasham Atmana Kama Krodha Tata Lobhas Tasmat Etatrayam Vidyajet. So 3 gates that are leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Everyone should give these up because they lead to the degradation of the soul. So this is the beginning of demoniac life, when one tries to satisfy his lust, and when desire leads to that greed for satisfaction, and when he cannot, anger develops. Okay, so when anger develops, then that leads to further contamination, and we get deluded. From delusion, we get bewildered, and like this is explained in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. When memory is bewildered, we lose our intelligence and we fall down into this material life over and over and over again. So we need to be careful, and we need to try to get rid of lust, anger, and greed. These 3 can kill us, to the soul to such an extent that there is no possibility of liberation from this material world. So I'll read the translation for this. A man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell performs acts that are conducive to self-realization, and so gradually they can attain the supreme destination. So very carefully, if we can try to get rid of these 3 enemies, which is lust, anger, and greed, and once we are free from these 3, we can be more and more purified. So how can we do this? By following the rules and regulations that are given in the Vedic literature and the scriptures. So by following the regulative principles of human life, we can slowly raise ourselves to the spiritual platform, where we are performing, very attractive, very desirable activities like being vegetarian, by meditating on the Supreme Lord, by studying the scriptures, by chanting the holy names of the Lord, by performing austerities, by even celibacy. So if one is performing all these practices, then one can slowly rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, and success is guaranteed for them. And that is why we have the four, varnashrama system. And so based on our position in society, we are able to dovetail ourselves so that we can act in such a way that ultimately we reach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord instead of going down to the hellish planets. But what if one disregards all these scriptures? And then that is explained in 23, that he who discards scriptural injunctions and he acts according to his own whims, they don't attain perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. So, because the directions that are given in the scripture is meant to be followed by everyone. So just by following our own desires, we will never be able to perfect our life. In this regard, there's a beautiful quote by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and he says that there has never been a prison that was built by man that people haven't figured out how to escape. But what kind of a prison has Krishna created? There are no walls, there are no guards. And although everyone is suffering in this world, no one wants to get out. So that is the kind of jail that we are in, or the prison that we are in. And so we need to remember that this human form of life is only meant for purifying oneself. And after this purification, we need to try to follow all the scriptures, follow the shastras, and slowly try to be more and more Krishna conscious so that we can attain to the lotus feet. That is explained in the next verse. Tasmat shastram pramanam te karya vyavastitau jnatva shastra vidhanoktam karma kartum iharhasi. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulation of the scriptures. And knowing such regulations and rules, one has to act so that he may gradually be elevated. So first thing is, we need to accept the scriptures, follow its rules and regulations. Understand that there is the Lord who is there. He is the supreme authority, and engage in his service. Once we engage in Krishna's service, then by practicing devotional service, slowly we can rise to platform of pure Krishna consciousness. And so this chapter, it describes how those who follow the scriptures attain the supreme goal, and those who don't follow the scriptures, they go down to hell. So that was the last verse of the chapter. I'd like to conclude with a very quick summary. This chapter talks about the divine and demoniac qualities. We looked at the 26 divine qualities and
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I'll be done right now. Please give me one moment. Okay, and 6 demoniac qualities. And we see how, what the tendencies of the demoniac people are, what is their nature, what is the destination that they are going to achieve, what is Krishna's treatment, and how we can get rid of these demoniac tendencies. This by giving up lust, anger, and greed and following the scripture, one is able to be elevated to the spiritual platform and slowly attain to pure Krishna consciousness. Thank you all so much, and I'm very, very sorry for the delay. We can end here. Thank you, dear devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much. Very nice, wonderful class. Very with each and every verse. You went in depth and you explained it so nicely. So, and the table was very nice that you had made for all the demonic and divine qualities. Devotees, any questions? I think Preeti will
If there are any realizations, share, otherwise we can. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Preeti Vilas Mataji is there.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Indulekha Mataji, thank you so much. Mataji, we appreciate your effort of doing this chapter again so thoroughly with it and purpose, because you had presented this chapter earlier in the Bhagavad Gita 18-week series, and I was thinking it would be, you will just have, it would be simple work, you will just have, be repeating or representing the same, but we see effort that you have put in. by going through the entire chapter all over again, putting the chief points from the purport together, adding them, and then presenting it nicely. So I felt for this class, you were the ideal speaker, I was the ideal listener. I could see all my qualities in you. Thank you so much.
Mataji, you're muted. Indulekha Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. You would have seen many of your qualities in the divine qualities, Mataji, not demoniac tendencies. I was thinking this is definitely the best chapter for me because there are so many qualities that I can actually relate to that are demoniac. And so try to get rid of them, especially unnecessary anger. So Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
much.
Vinita Gandharvika Mataji is there.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for such a beautiful nectarian class. You are already an expert in Bhagavad Gita. You already did a whole series for us before also, and you came again. It's very nice to hear from you, Mataji. I really like the way you went through each and every verse and explained the details and how the demonic mentality is, what kind of activities they do, how they live their life in day to day, and also what will happen to them if they lead that kind of life. It's so nice. I feel I am most biggest demon, Mataji, putting tilak and showing myself to a devotee. But those qualities that you are expressing for the demonic thing, right? I feel like I have so many of them. Thank you, Mataji, for very, very beautiful class and with nice stories in between. I really loved the class, Mataji. Haribol. And very beautiful PPT though, fresh PPT. Thank you, Mataji. You have lots of energy.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Vinita Mataji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Mataji. Indulekha Mataji, you want to say something?
I was just thanking Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Vrinda is there and still you are able to join and pay so much attention to every single class. Thank you so much, Mataji. And thank you for your incessant services. And definitely there's so many qualities in me that have to go. I don't see those in you. You perform a lot of wonderful austerities and perform a lot of, very sincere devotion to the Lord. So thank you so much, Mataji. Sudhakar Prabhu, please go ahead.
Thank you,
Mataji, Balavrinda want to say something, Mataji. Say.
That's my dear.
Mataji, I like the class.
Thank you
What
so
did you
much,
like in the class?
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
What do you like?
Vinita Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
No,
She's saying-
Balavrinda wanted to say she likes the class, Mataji. Maybe you heard her. I don't know. You did not heard.
Yes, heard
I
Mataji.
think so, yeah, okay.
Thank you so much, Balavrinda. Yes, Sudhakar Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sorry, I joined the class a bit late. I just want to know what's the difference between the asura and the demon. In short, like I know you had covered something, but I could not really capture it.
Demoniac qualities are called asuric qualities. The asuras and demons are both are the same. That's what we are talking about here.
So both of them are same, you mean to say?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Kirtida Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for the excellent session, as everybody has already said. And I was just reflecting on points that how you were telling about the divine qualities, and one of the quality is abhayam, fearlessness. Krishna bestows fearlessness, and that fearlessness is that a devotee always says that Krishna will take care. I was reflecting that how you also took up this virtue, this quality, and you gave the class in spite of having that fear that whether you'll be able to or not. So
Very cool.
I'm grateful to you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yes, Krishna always take care. And dear devotees, Pranav was not feeling well since yesterday, having a fever, 103 fever, but still Mataji, she took up this service for the pleasure of Lord Shri Krishna. That is so wonderful. And we really pray that Pranav feels better. He recovers soon. And you also, Mataji, take care. And thank you so much for the wonderful session. As everybody already said, PPT was awesome. And your points that you quoted from other acharyas, that was also very good. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Kirtida Mataji. And I should say, it was you who instilled the fearlessness. And you are the one who said, just leave it to Krishna. Krishna is going to take care of it. You don't have to, worry about whether you would be able to come or not. Actually, it would have been so much better to hear the class from you instead, but you allowed me to take this up and present this session, Mataji. I have to say thank you so much. I'd like to thank you both, Kirtida Sundari Mataji and Preeti Vilasini Mataji, for encouraging me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. All glorifications are really so wonderful. So, yes, so we also pray for Pranav to get well soon, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So, there are some chat.
All of them, thank you all for your wonderful.
Everyone is thanking for the very detailed explanation. Wonderful class, nice PPT.
Thank you.
What not? Everything was wonderful. Hare Krishna. So thank you, dear. Because I think we can end the call here, Mataji, with your permission.
Someone was about to talk, right?
Hare Krishna. Who, Mataji?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Mataji?
Somebody wanted to talk. It kept cutting off.
Is it? Anyone who wanted to? Yeah, I think Mataji is having something to say. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Mataji, very nice. Really explained. Very nice class.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Detail.
And showering us with your blessings, Mataji. Thank you so much.
You're so humble.
Praying for that.
Nice.
Mataji. Hare.
Nice qualities. Thank you. Few more classes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Komudiki Mataji, for being there. For everyone, you are like a pillar for us, and your encouragement is really worth for us to have your encouragement, and yeah, it's a blessing for us. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, dear devotees. I think we can end the session here. So let's pay our obeisances to Mataji. Vancha kalpa tripasya kripa sindhu pe vachapati tanam pavanebhyo vaishnavi अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हर ग्रेस इंदुलेखा करुणा माता जी की जय।
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. We'll end the call here.